So when Henry and I first sat down to create the documentary, we decided that, it was basically going to follow conventions, and that was how we planned to tell our story. We took a large risk in basically not knowing the outcome, and that's something that a lot of high schoolers aren't accustomed to doing because we were following the team and we didn't know how things were going to end, so we couldn't really set up story arcs or really have anything set in place. And so it kind of broke a convention for us in terms of what we do to create. But in terms of a story arc and storytelling conventions, the documentary ended up kind of following the conventions in exactly the way we wanted to. They fulfilled the legacy, they were able to become the team that they wanted to be.
And that was something that we always wanted to convey. But I'd say that where our documentary challenged the most conventions would be on the topic material itself. A lot of people, when you think of sports and the dominant sports teams, what comes to mind first is men. But something that we wanted to discuss is that girls are dominant athletes in just the same respect, and so that's something that we wanted to talk about and discuss with the documentary, and so that became a main focal point throughout.
So from the first day of production, we kind of centered everything around this team. We put all of the resources we had into it, and we decided that it was basically going to be a Winter Haven production centered at Winter Haven High School for the Winter Haven basketball team. And so it was mostly about creating that sense of community and basically centering everything around that one organization.
But in terms of the team itself, I would say the main brand that is associated with the women's basketball team is the letters LBD, which stands for Lady Blue Devils. And you can find that basically all over. There's shirts that have been made, we wanted to incorporate that into the documentary as well as our website. And so that's just kind of been the calling card, essentially. We have built on that, and that would probably be the go-to as far as branding goes for this material.
So when Henry and I set out to create this documentary, our intention was always to kind of capture raw footage and capture the entire season and all the dynamics of the team first, and then tell a story later depending on the outcome. Nothing was scripted or ever intended to be scripted. So in doing that, we decided we needed to consistently capture events from two different angles. So I commonly used a stationary Sony that our class used on a 3-piece tripod, and Henry would use his personal Nikon D5300 with varying 50mm and 200mm lenses shooting in 1080p 60 frames per second. We just wanted to make sure we had all of the necessary technical specification to run slow-mo if we wanted to, and run all these different kinds of edits, get different focuses, and make sure we were able to basically storytell the best as we could. We got hundreds and hundreds of clips of footage and basically put all of it together in a library in Final Cut Pro, which is our editing system, and we basically kind of brought it all together. We used audio blocks, Digital Juice, these royalty-free programs for music. And in terms of distributing it, it's kind of become a grassroots sort of thing, going from person to person, coaches all around the entire city, and the intention wasn't to make money, but I'm sure that could be a possibility. It wasn't our intention, though. We were definitely looking most of all to really just kind of give credit to the basketball team in a way that hadn't been done before at our school and in our community, and I think that that's hopefully what we've achieved with this documentary.
And to close, kind of in terms of distribution of the documentary, we kind of saw this firsthand with how things played out. Because of the nature of it and kind of the grassroots going from person to person, social media also played a big factor in it, and would play a big factor if we chose to go more broadly with it. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, people kind of distributing the documentary to different people has really kind of grown recognition for it, and that's something that we've seen a lot in terms of what the distribution would look like if we chose to pursue that further.